All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to talk about two tissues that are, well, absolutely essential for every single move you make: ligaments and tendons. Now, on the surface, they look pretty similar, right? But it's their tiny, microscopic differences that hold the key to a huge question.
And that question is this: why is it that a sprained ankle can heal with just a little bit of rest, but something like a torn ACL can be a total career ender for an athlete? You might think it's about the size of the injury, but nope, that's not it. The real answer is hidden deep inside their microscopic blueprint, and that's exactly what we're going to unpack today.
Okay, so here's the plan for today. First up, we'll look at their role as our body's stabilizers. Then, we're going to put these two tissues head to head. After that, we'll zoom way in to see their microscopic blueprint. And finally, we'll connect all those dots and see how that blueprint totally changes the game when it comes to recovery.
All right, first things first. What do ligaments actually do? It's so easy to think of them as just simple biological ropes holding us together, but they are so much more than that. They're actually incredibly sophisticated dynamic stabilizers.
So their job really comes down to three key things. First, they stop our joints from moving in ways they shouldn't, preventing dangerous motion. Second, they provide that crucial stability. But the third one, this one's the coolest in my opinion. It's called proprioception. See, ligaments are just packed with nerve endings that are constantly feeding information back to your brain, telling it exactly where your limbs are in space. It's kind of like they're a key part of your body's built-in GPS system.
Now this is where a lot of people get mixed up. Ligaments and tendons. They seem so similar, right? But there is one fundamental difference in what they do that completely dictates their entire design.
And here it is. It's actually beautifully simple when you break it down. Ligaments connect bone to bone. Think of them as lashing our skeleton together. Tendons, on the other hand, connect muscle to bone. They're what allow your muscles to pull on your skeleton and, well, create movement. This one core difference, it changes everything about their structure and their function. And that brings us right to their internal blueprint.
Okay, so both of these tissues obviously need to be incredibly strong. But because their jobs are so different, their composition is too. I mean, we're talking right down to the molecular level. So let's put them side by side and really see what's going on under the hood.
Okay, look at this. These differences might seem subtle, but they create tissues with vastly different properties. Tendons, they're packed with more collagen, which gives them that incredible straight-line, linear strength. But ligaments, they've got more water. We're talking like 60 to 80% of their weight is just water, and these things called proteoglycans, which are basically little water-absorbing molecules. This helps them resist compression. You combine that with their more, let's call it, less organized collagen fibers, and you get a tissue that's built to handle stress from a whole bunch of different directions.
So what gives both of these tissues their amazing strength? Well, it comes down to the same hero protein, type 1 collagen. Seriously, think of this stuff as the steel cable of our biology. It makes up more than 70% of a ligament's dry weight. But like we just saw, it's not just about having the steel cables, it's all about how you arrange them and what you surround them with that makes all the difference.
And this is just a perfect example of that old saying, form follows function. It goes all the way down to the individual cells. The little guys responsible for building and maintaining these tissues, they're called fibroblasts, are actually shaped differently. In ligaments, the cells are rounder, which totally makes sense for their multidirectional job. But in tendons, they're more elongated, kind of spindle-shaped, which perfectly mirrors that straight-line pulling force they're built to handle.
So okay, this is all cool microscopic stuff, but how does it affect the most practical question of all? What happens when things go wrong? Let's dive into the road to recovery and see how this blueprint really matters.
Healing a ligament isn't quick. It's a really long and complex process. It kicks off with an inflammatory phase, right? Then it moves into what's called the proliferation phase. This is where the body starts making new collagen. But here's the catch. It's a weaker type, type 3. And the new tissue is super fragile. In fact, this window right here, between about days 5 and 21, that's when the healing tissue is at its absolute weakest. From there, it takes months, sometimes up to a year and a half, for the body to slowly remodel that weak stuff into stronger scar tissue.
But here's a huge point. Not all ligaments heal the same way. This right here, this quote, highlights one of the most important concepts in all of sports medicine. It's the reason why an MCL tear, on the outside of the knee, can often heal up just fine on its own. But an ACL tear, deep inside the joint, well, that almost never does. And the whole difference comes down to one simple word: location.
So why is location so critical? Well, here's the deal. Ligaments inside the joint, the intra-articular ones like the ACL,
They're literally bathed in this stuff called synovial fluid. Now that fluid is great for lubricating the joint, but it's terrible for healing. It can wash away all the essential healing factors and stop a good stable clot from forming. Plus, these ligaments tend to have a much poorer blood supply. Now compare that to ligaments outside the joint like the MCL. They exist outside of that whole fluid-filled environment, so they have much better access to blood and all the repair machinery the body needs to send in.
And it's not just about location. Our own lifestyle and health choices play a massive role too. I mean, things like age, smoking, and diabetes, we kind of know those can slow down healing. But check out a couple of others on this list that might surprise you. Immobilization, not moving the joint, actually weakens the tissue as it heals. And get this, even common over-the-counter anti-inflammatories like ibuprofen can actually interfere with the crucial first stages of repair. Crazy, right?
So what's the big takeaway here? It's that ligaments and tendons are just these incredible masterworks of biological engineering. Each one is perfectly tailored for its specific job. And by really understanding their unique blueprint, from the shape of their cells all the way to the weave of their collagen, we don't just figure out why some injuries are so darn challenging to fix, we also crack open the door to all kinds of future treatments. I mean, this knowledge, it really is the first step toward developing new therapies that could one day help our bodies rebuild stronger and maybe even faster than ever before.